You've underselected or overinvested. Now, what do I mean by that? If you're still seeking the validation behind your childhood traumas, your emotional wounds, everything in your past that has you too eager, too excited, too ready to move forward, anxious, jumping even, needy, you could say, at the first opportunity of someone to give you validation, someone to give you attention, that's going to get in the way. And let me paint this clearly, because the ego can easily hear those things. Nah, that ain't me. Nah, that ain't the situation. That ain't what it is. But really look for yourself. I invite you to consider, because again, under-selected, over-invested, meaning that the first person that comes along and notices how fucking brilliant you are, how dope you are, in this long walk of solitude that we all have to do through life, one way or the other. You came into this life alone, you're going to exit this life alone. Sorry to break that to you. And along that path, if you've been so degraded, if your self-worth, self-confidence, self-esteem has dropped so low that the first person giving you some positive, even if it isn't healthy, attention, that is going to nourish something in you. If you are so thirsty, well, they say the hungry don't get fed. If you are so thirsty for attention, if you are so needing of approval, male gaze, male attention, the opportunity, here's where most of my clients get stuck, feeling like, because the dating game is an experience where you have to take on rejection. You have to expose yourself. You have to be vulnerable. You have to be willing to put yourself out there to find a match. And this is on both sides, right? And in that dance, in that game, it doesn't always work out. This can be a grueling and challenging experience. We just want to acknowledge and face these facts, because as long as we leave it in these blind spots, as long as we leave it as what all the propaganda media and storybooks would have us believe, that love just becomes happily ever after because we feel something, those are a lot of the pitfalls that we honestly hear about. That's why divorce is so common. That's why marriages are so rocky. That's why dating itself, the dating game, there's pee in the dating pool, because we're not actually looking responsibly for ourselves. Everybody wants to just get to the happily ever after. And I'm gonna be real with you, because that's my job. It takes work. You gotta first do the work on yourself. You've gotta then do the work to put yourself in position to play the game, to get the opportunities. One side of the coin or other, men and women, we both have to go through the same hoops, if you will, stages, steps in preparation, understanding the game that you're playing. If you don't, it's a wild, wild west out here. And I'm sure you've heard it. I'm sure you've seen it. I'm sure you've experienced it. So when that under-selecting comes out, well, is he a man? Yep. Is he giving me attention? Green light, feels good. And just really stop. Take a breath. Here's a question to ask yourself, because this is often my first step with my clients, and not a lot of people start with this, begin with the end in mind. What are your standards? What are your expectations? What are you looking to have in partnership? Now, that is not the high school checklist, superficial items, you know, the 666, 6 foot, 6 figures, and whatever else you're looking for. It's not that. How do you, as a person, want to be loved? How do you want to feel about your partner? Here's a deeper question not a lot of people look at. Who do you want to be in the relationship? Everybody wants to talk about being healed. Everybody wants to talk about being ready to do the emotional labor, the emotional intelligence, all that hard work. How do you want to be in a relationship? Are you someone committed to being your best version? Are you someone committed who can be with your shit stanking? Finding out, oh, that was my mistake. Oh, my bad. Oh, that's something I could grow up with. Oh, I'm sorry. If you're not ready to do this type of work, these are the things that get overlooked when you are under selecting. Because if your standards are so high that, yo, I need you to do this, I need you to do this, I need you to do that, bring that to the table. And I'm not talking about resources. I'm not talking about superficial things. I'm talking about the quality of the stand. I need your communication to be on point. I need you to be responsible. I need you to be transparent. I need you to be vulnerable. I need you to be emotionally intelligent. Understand not only my emotions, but your own, and vice versa. So when you can put that bar so high, you got to bring it yourself. Because how can you be expecting the sky's the limit and you're not bringing that to the table? So when I say under select, again, I always point the finger back at us. If you're the type of person that will let someone not meeting these standards into your life and open yourself up and make yourself available and give away your value, your resources, your time, your body, your intimacy, everything to someone who is not qualified by your standards. Again, you've underselected and overinvested. You allowed things to go further. You allowed intimacy to be brought in the space. Here's the secret. I say it all the time. Divine feminine energy. Your power is in your vote. You have no idea how valuable it is to give your feminine energy away to others, men especially. Feminine energy is a multiplier. Feminine energy takes a seed and brings a human being. Feminine energy takes a house and turns it into a home. Feminine energy, the attention, the words, the whispers, the positive affirmation in the ear of a regular average man makes him a fucking king, a giant, a Goliath, someone who can change the industry. And when you are giving access to that, giving that away, and you haven't vetted and qualified, it's not just a free meal. It's not just a meal ticket. You'd be surprised how many times you're not taking advantage of a situation. You're actually giving away your advantage. You've given the managers discount. They got access to everything. Y'all are playing house. Well, wait a minute. How do you feel about marriage, about commitment? What are you actually looking for? Kids, family, legacy? Oh, how do you actually feel about me? See, one side, it takes some emotional maturity to bring these conversations up in a way where there's no shame, there's no blame, there's no guilt. It's the fun and play of this dance of sex, dating, and relationships. It's another thing to be ready for what could come back. And see, this is where I hope, ladies, you're able to put down the ego, put down the identity, put down pride or whatever else tells you that you have to be perfect, that you have to have it all together, or that you're not ready to accept the real feedback, that you're not ready to accept you're in a situation far too long because he never really saw it that way. You were never really on the same page. There's no chance that this situationship is going to graduate to a relationship. And in those scenarios, you really got to be responsible for yourself. Under selecting, you got to qualify who you're working with. Over investing, how much are you putting into it? And that's the danger of that emotional escalator, is that it can put you in position to be accepting, going along with the program. You're expecting this because some Disney movie you saw 15 years ago told you that's how it's going to go. Some TV episode you saw, some movie, some propaganda, whatever it may be, social media, something tells you that's the way it's supposed to go, but you haven't actually done the work to get in communication. You haven't actually vetted and qualified. Are you actually on track to that? On the same page?